On a cold January night in 1992, in the small town of Madison, Indiana, the life of a 12-year-old girl was brutally taken in one of the most shocking and disturbing crimes the state had ever seen. A crime so senseless, so vicious, that even hardened investigators were left shaken. This is the story of Shanda Sharer, a bright, innocent young girl, whose tragic murder at the hands of 4 teenage girls revealed the darkest depths of jealousy, manipulation, and cruelty. But behind the brutality lies a haunting question. How could children commit an act so monstrous? Shanda Renee Sharer was born on June 6, 1979, in Pineville, Kentucky. She was the only child of her parents, Stephen Sharer and Jacqueline Vaught. Described as a lively, fun-loving girl, Shanda had a warm smile and a playful spirit that made her loved by everyone around her. In 1991, her family relocated to Madison, Indiana, a quiet river town where Shanda enrolled at Hazelwood Middle School. Like many kids her age, she loved music, cheerleading, and spending time with friends. But Shanda was also at the vulnerable age of 12, caught between childhood and adolescence, navigating new friendships, school drama, and the confusing intensity of young crushes. It was in Madison that Shanda crossed paths with Amanda Heavrin, another girl at school. The two quickly became close friends, but their relationship soon turned into something more complicated. Amanda and Shanda developed a bond that was affectionate, with hints of teenage romance. Unfortunately, Amanda's former girlfriend, 16-year-old Melinda Loveless, was not ready to let go, and what began as jealousy would spiral into something unimaginably dark. Melinda Loveless was known for her fiery temper. At just 16, she had already endured a troubled childhood filled with abuse, instability, and emotional scars. Her relationship with Amanda had been passionate but volatile. When Amanda turned her attention to Shanda, Melinda's jealousy quickly grew into obsession. Melinda saw Shanda not as an innocent 12-year-old, but as a rival. She believed Shanda was stealing Amanda's affection, and she began plotting ways to intimidate her. It started with threats. Melinda would write notes and make comments about hurting Shanda. But no one, not even Amanda, could have predicted just how far she was willing to go. It was Friday, January 10, 1992. Shanda was at home when her mother, Jock, left her under the care of her grandparents for the evening. That night, 4 teenage girls drove through Madison with a sinister plan. They were Melinda Loveless, age 16, Lori Tackett, age 17, Hope Rippey, age 15, and Tony Lawrence, age 15. Melinda, consumed by rage, had convinced her friends to help scare Shanda. At least that's how she explained it. But beneath the surface, her intentions were far more violent. Around midnight, the group arrived at Shanda's home. Hope and Tony, pretending to be friendly, knocked on the door and told Shanda that Amanda wanted to meet her. Shanda hesitated. Her father didn't like her going out late, but eventually she agreed, believing she'd only be gone a short while. She never came back. The girls lured Shanda into their car, where Melinda was hiding in the back seat. The moment Shanda got in, Melinda lunged at her with a knife, threatening her life. Shanda cried and begged, but the other girls did nothing to help. Instead, the car ride became a nightmare. They drove Shanda to a remote location known as the Witch's Castle, an abandoned, eerie building on the outskirts of town. There they tied her up, mocked her, and tormented her. For hours, Shanda was subjected to unimaginable fear. She pleaded for her life, asking to go home, asking for her mother. But her captors only laughed. Melinda's rage boiled over, fueled by jealousy and cruelty. She wanted Shanda gone, forever. As the night wore on, the torture escalated. Around dawn, the girls drove Shanda to a remote field in Jefferson County. There the brutality reached its peak. Melinda and Lori stabbed Shanda repeatedly. Shanda screamed in agony, but there was no escape. Then, in a horrifying act, they stuffed her into the trunk of the car while she was still alive. Throughout the night, the girls continued to check on her, sometimes laughing, sometimes stabbing her again when she moved or made noise. Finally, near sunrise, they drove to a rural gravel road. They pulled Shanda out, doused her in gasoline, and set her on fire. At just 12 years old, Shanda Scherer's life ended in unimaginable pain. Later that morning, 2 hunters discovered the burned body on the side of the road. At first, they weren't even sure what they had found. The remains were so charred and unrecognizable. They immediately called police, who launched an investigation. News of the gruesome discovery spread quickly, shaking the small town to its core. Who could commit such an act? And why? The truth would come out faster than anyone expected. While Melinda and Lori seemed unbothered by what they had done, the younger girls, Tony and Hope, were terrified. Racked with guilt, Tony broke down and told her parents everything. Her parents took her straight to the police, where she gave a full confession. One by one, the pieces fell into place. The shocking reality that 4 teenage girls had kidnapped, tortured, and murdered a 12-year-old child sent waves of disbelief across Indiana and beyond. In court, the brutality of the crime horrified both the jury and the public. Prosecutors revealed every disturbing detail: the jealousy, the manipulation, the hours of torment, and the final act of setting Shanda on fire. The defense attorneys pointed to the girls' troubled upbringings, histories of abuse, and mental instability. But the sheer cruelty of the crime could not be ignored. Ultimately, all 4 girls were convicted. Melinda Loveless and Lori Tackett received the harshest sentences, 60 years in prison. Hope Rippey received 60 years, later reduced to 35. Tony Lawrence, who cooperated with police, was sentenced to 20 years. Shanda's mother, Jock Vaught, was devastated. She had trusted her daughter would be safe, never imagining such evil could befall her little girl. But in the years that followed, Jock became a powerful voice for forgiveness and healing. In a remarkable act of grace, she even forgave the girls responsible, stating that holding on to hatred would only destroy her further. Over time, she even formed an unlikely bond with Shanda's killer, Melinda Loveless, after learning that Melinda had turned her life around in prison by training service dogs for disabled veterans. Still, the scars remain. The town of Madison has never forgotten Shanda Scherer, the bright-eyed 12-year-old whose life was stolen far too soon. Shanda's story is a chilling reminder of how jealousy, manipulation, and violence can spiral into unthinkable tragedy. A 12-year-old child, full of life and promise, was silenced in one of the most disturbing crimes of the 1990s. But through her mother's strength and compassion, Shanda's memory endures, not as a victim, but as a symbol of forgiveness in the face of horror. This was the story of Shanda Scherer,